So when I went to the PPA in Vegas, I was ready, I thought. Pro singles, I ended up losing 11-9, 11-9, and then 15-12, but it was different. It was just choking. I mean, it was totally mental. I just, making bad choices at the wrong point. But I was in the game. In men's pro doubles, I just played with a guy in the Players Meeting Partners again. He was, like a 4-5 from Minnesota, nice guy, just so I could get in the draw since I was going there anyway. We lost bad first round to Althoff and Navratil. In second round, we had what seemed like a dream match for a pro draw. Tyson McGuffin had gotten sick and had to drop out. So Randall Emmitt, of Hollywood fame, but not a pro player, swooped in and got Riley Newman to play doubles with him in the tournament. I discussed with my partner how we were going to isolate Randall and force Riley to come over in order to open up the court. So we were up 8-1 when we switched sides. They took not only the changeover, but both timeout as they strategized with their coach, Wes Burrows. I could tell we were really only winning points because Randall was getting in Riley's way. And they were working out how to stop that. So they decided to isolate my partner. Randall was even yelling it out. Yeah, hitting to the right guy and we got him. He was like putting on a show and getting the crowd going and all that kind of thing. So it basically became Riley versus my partner, and I was watching what was happening, but I really couldn't do anything about it. I mean, we were staying in the point, but it just takes one pop-up from Riley, and if you aren't able to reset it, point's over. And my partner just never seen a ball like Riley's. So he'd drop, and then, that's the one, it's gone. So we lost 15-10. But after seeing how this went, and then watching the next team beat them and how they approached it, it showed me a lot about the game. Then, a few weeks later, at a tournament in Punta Gorda, I was playing pro doubles with a junior at the time and a rising star, Ronan Cameron. We ran into a recent tennis convert, Travis Rettenmeyer, who was playing with a guy who had never even played the sport. So essentially, it became 2-on-1. And I think there's a good chance that if his partner hadn't been in his way, that he probably would have beat us that day. Mostly because none of us were playing tactical pro pickleball. It was just banging with a few drops. If you watched as Colin and Ben John started playing together, or Ben and Simone, or any other of the top mixed pro pickleball, they're all using what McNasty and I were kind of calling alpha-beta doubles. Although he may have a better term by now. But I remember as Colin and Ben were working it out, one of the biggest vulnerabilities I saw was, even though Colin was staying out of the way and Ben was pretty much playing the court, he was just resetting and assisting. If Colin got more engaged because the opponents were able to get it to them, he would start hitting too many balls, and then there would be a confusion over who took the ball. And that was their biggest vulnerability. Other than that, it seemed to be working, and then now they've kind of evolved beyond that. But the biggest factor in any of this is like what I said from the beginning. Whoever has the best hands can speed up the ball first. Just to give you an example, imagine Riley Newman hits you a serve as your partner waits at the kitchen line. You hit the return down the middle as Riley hits a drop to one of the two corners that bounces in the kitchen, and he's at the kitchen line around the same time that drop bounces. So you have to be able to hit a dink off of his third shot without popping it up enough that he can do anything with that next ball, with him standing right in front of you at the kitchen line. And if you pull that off, you and your partner have to win a cat and mouse point against Riley Newman. Just positioning himself in front of the ball every time he moves you somewhere. Knowing that if you ever speed it up from a defensive position, he has you, and a lot of times, even if you're up on him, he will dig his way back out and win that. That's the reality of it. And every time you hit the ball over there, it's Riley Newman. What I'm saying here is it takes a certain level of player to even be able to avoid getting taken out in the first shot or two. I mean, it's like boxing, Tyson. These guys would come in against Tyson, ooh, I think I'm all right, and then one hit from him and they're like they didn't even know what was coming. That's what it's like. And if you watch mixed, again, the women are great, but it's the pickle jar thing, right? Like, men have this strength in their forearms that everyone really knows about, and that's what really determines that kitchen line stuff a lot, where guys can hit it hard from here, harder than the girls. So they're cross-courting it, right? Anytime a guy steps in and just does that, all of a sudden the point moves. I see it with Matt Wright all the time, where just him getting in there one time changes the point progression of the point from there. Not every time, but you can feel it, and it's because there's something else on that ball. And if you haven't played one of those people, you don't know that difference. For example, many times when I'm giving lessons to a doubles team, I simulate playing a doubles team. against them by myself. And when we're playing out these points, one of the things that I'm doing a lot is trying to get them disciplined on playing tactically instead of just banging. Because it's kind of an illusion that there's the open space, because I can cover it in an instant. Because my hands are better than theirs, I can handle their speed ups, or I can speed it up anytime I want. And either reset it so that they can try something smarter on the next shot, or I teach them a lesson with my own speed up. And then explain it to them. Even in lessons when I'm not even trying to win, I usually do, but it's just because of misses. But I know that there's a level where that won't work anymore. What I'm saying is I'm not even one of those top pros I'm talking about. When you're watching these top pros play, you're making assumptions about what you think you would be able to do if you were playing against them. You might even be tempted to think that all that dinking that they're doing would be necessary if they played against you. But it wouldn't, because they could just come at you anytime they wanted and probably win the hands battle. That's part of why they're top pros. Of course, there's a combination of skills and athleticism and all that come into play when they're competing against each other. But none of them don't have faster hands than the people below pro, or they wouldn't make it. You could just speed it up whenever they wanted in one of those 4-person combinations. I mean, we've all been there. Sometimes you're the one that's never missing, and sometimes you're the one that's all missing. It depends on where you're playing and whether you're playing with people better than you or not. I think once the athleticism level jumps here significantly, we're gonna see a very different looking sport. Things like one up, one back, partners screening each other to block views of the court. Ernie jumps will get ridiculous, from over half the court probably. It's just a super small space for 2 elite athletes to be working within, and it limits the value of their combined skills. There's too much overlap. So it's going to evolve as new strategies are developed. It'll be interesting to see where it goes, but it will definitely look different in the coming years. And I'd really like to see the 2 versus 1 format become acceptable within the pickleball community and rec play to be used as a training tool. One of the biggest complaints I hear anywhere is that nobody can find anybody better than them that will play with them, right? Somehow everyone is better than who they play with. But what happens, and the reason I rarely go play rec anymore, is that if you're the best player on the court, you never get to touch the ball. So why would better players go play in rec games? So if it became acceptable for a higher level player to come out to rec and play 2-on-1, then everyone that is looking for better games would get to see this better ball and higher level play once in a while. While the better players would get to work out their legs and practice their strategy and ball control and things like that. So it's a win-win. But right now, I don't think that most rec players understand that the court is small and easily coverable by a fast athlete, especially one that plays singles. So would consider it offensive to even ask if, hey, you want to play me 2-on-1? But I would win that game at almost every open rec. But I do think upcoming events is going to help clear this up for the pickleball community in general. And it might just help with the growth of the game.